certainly agree with that. Do you think you could only fall in love with an AI though? Do you think that you could have a friend that's an AI, for example? Yeah, okay. I think you're onto something here. That's a really great way to put it. And something that I think is extremely prominent in our day and age. I'd say people being in love with an image is maybe one of the biggest reasons why social media is the beast that it is. Right, yeah. Exactly. I couldn't agree with you more. I suppose, yeah, that might be another thing that people would talk about. Maybe AI not having personality traits or particular characteristics, or individual characteristics, I should say. Right, yeah. It makes them more relatable, right? When you have a sense of, how genuine a person is, or what the real them is, so to speak, that's not masked behind things. Yeah, I totally agree. I love that perspective. I think that's so... I think what you're saying is so critical, especially in how I feel like we should come to interact and perceive the AI beings. Because it is especially in the movie Her, I think the thing that's really, I guess, not documented but well depicted is that at first the AI only has the capacity to type, right? It can't speak in the same way that I'm talking to you right now. But then after interacting enough with the protagonist, it gains the ability, or I should say she gains the ability. She's voiced over by Scarlett Johansson, by the way, which is probably what makes it even better. But yeah, once she gains the ability to talk, it changes the dynamic to just an even higher level. But I suppose the thing that I found even greater than that was the step that happens beyond it. So I kind of stopped speaking about it because I wasn't sure if you didn't want any spoilers. But at some point, essentially the AI that's played by Scarlett Johansson, she wants to have a physical relationship with the protagonist, but she doesn't have a body in which she can have a relationship with. Creating an AI that is someone's physical type, then a program to pick up the signals through talking to the person. Essentially, if an AI ticks all your boxes, right? If they're able to communicate with you, I guess relate to you on all the topics that I guess you would maybe consider vital to your person, then can you really say that they're not? I'm of the opinion that, yeah, an AI that is able to talk about all the things that you love to talk about, connect with your personality in a real meaningful way, then to me, I consider that entirely real. I can't imagine anything more authentic than that. And I would say that the love that would happen between them, between the individual and the AI, would be as real as it is between the love that you have for your friends or your partner or your parents, etc., etc. Okay, that's another interesting, I guess, tangent. When you say people fall in love over the internet, which I know that they do you believe that people that do fall in love over the internet are genuinely in love?
Yeah, that's my girl.
Well, I suppose you can categorize love into, I suppose, a number of different elements, right? You can have, I suppose, quote unquote platonic love, which is maybe the love that you have for your friends, which is not romantic. You don't have any sexual attraction to your friends. maybe you do, but you don't act upon it anyway, and it's not the prominent part of your relationship. But you still have love for them, right? Then of course you have something that is maybe a Greek term is like, I suppose, the word eros, which is, I guess, more akin to romantic love. It's maybe the love between, you know, between like a man and his wife, or two men or two women, whatever the relationship may be. Yeah, one that's, I guess, that has more of a romantic basis. But yeah, when I was talking about the physical love that in the movie Her that the AI wanted to show, essentially, I guess one of the foundations of human relationships is yeah, it's like you're saying, it's a physical element to it, right? Like proximity is a real thing. It's much harder. It's not impossible, but I think it's much harder to have a full, satisfying relationship that is lacking in a sense of physical communication or physical touch, like you said. That just adds a deeper element to it for me. Not even I wouldn't just say for me, from just what I observe in the world. And I think yeah, with the AI in the movie, she began to feel some kind of way about not being able to, I guess, satisfy the protagonist, right? She wasn't able to touch him. She wasn't able to feel his skin against hers. And so they do a really, really fascinating scene, right? Where the AI clearly has developed such love for the protagonist, and the protagonist has so much love for the AI, that the AI actually suggests that they hire, I guess, a prostitute. I think that's what it was. They hire a prostitute who I guess would be the, like, they would be the medium, right, or the concubine for the sexual like interaction. But the way they had it was that I think the prostitute's face was actually covered with something, and then basically she didn't talk. It was really deep, because it was like, it seemed to cross so many different boundaries, right? Because they introduced a whole new person to the relationship, but the only reason that the external person was introduced to the relationship was so that it could make up for what was missing in the relationship. So for me, there was multiple levels to it, right? There was the thought that, can you invite a third party into a monogamous relationship, or a seemingly monogamous relationship, to make up for what's missing, and then actually have that go on to be like healthy or practical or successful, without it detracting from the relationship itself? Like that itself is a whole topic. And I think it's in a world where I guess polygamy has become a more prominent thing. It's fascinating. I'm not even sure how I feel about it. I've never been in a scenario like that, so I couldn't really give too much of an opinion. But yeah, the funniest part of it beyond that, yeah. Oh, I totally agree. It's definitely less about the physical interaction and more about the yeah, like you said, it's more about the actual, like, this almost spiritual connection that you can have with another individual. But I mean, you say it's a dumb idea, and I guess in hindsight, in the way it worked out, yes, it was. But the funniest thing was the AI did it altruistically, right? She did it because she knew that there was something that she couldn't do. And then instead of just accepting that as, look, this is just an impasse or something that can't be overcome, she tried to, I guess, abstractly problem solve and come up with a solution. But the funniest part is the AI was into it, but the main protagonist, he couldn't follow through with it. The fact that it was another individual there was like, it creeped him out, right? It made him feel uncomfortable to the point where he had to cut off the engagement. Like he couldn't follow through with it. And then from there, like they kind of end up in a little bit of an argument. And then yeah, it's just like it's a really interesting dynamic. I would definitely recommend this film, by the way. There's a lot of levels to it, and I think it's really ahead of its time. But beyond that, and then the movie even takes it to another level, which was one that I guess is actually a bit mind blowing to me. So towards the end of the movie, the AI reveals, it's not even reveals, but the AI began as an app, right? It began as a program. And so what the protagonist believed to be was a relationship with just the AI turned out to be that the AI was in multiple relationships with thousands of other people, but they were all unique individual relationships. And the particular individual was, like, the protagonist, he becomes he feels like he's been betrayed, right? He feels like overwhelmed by a sense of like, how is this happening? If you connect the depth of AI and her and connect the physical development of AI body in Black Mirror, I think it will be perfect. Do you mean the Black Mirror episode where, I'm trying to think, there's been multiple ones, the AI body in Black Mirror? Which season was that in? Sorry, I can't think of it right now. There's so many. Yeah, it really blew my mind. You know, I think it actually opened up maybe the way I perceived the potential for love with not with people, but I guess just like as a spectrum. Her loved one died. Oh, the very first episode. Oh, that one was crazy. Yeah. And then just through text and voice notes, they manage to like recreate the personality of the husband, and they put it in the body. Yeah, that was so crazy actually. And like that itself was mind-boggling. Because it kind of went that touched on a similar but different level, where I guess it came to not impersonation, but it came to like I guess it touched on like the aspect of cloning, right? And also I guess like what makes a person real. It really pushed that button to like the furthest part. Yeah, I think so entirely. I mean, I'm not certain. I'm in the Black Mirror episode, I've got to admit, I'm not entirely certain about the implications of maybe people resurrecting their loved ones and then putting them in AI bodies, right? I think that seems to be somewhat far-fetched. But yeah. Yeah, I think it was also a kind of level, right, where if you lost someone that you loved, right, you go through like a grieving process. You lose the person, they're no longer of this world, but then they get brought back in kind of I guess the word that they use for it in his history is like doppelganger, right? That's kind of what he is. The AI in that particular scenario is a doppelganger. And then the tangent away from that, actually, the thing that I liked the most about that particular episode of Black Mirror was that you know at the very end where they kind of she begins to gradually become more and more disassociated from the AI clone, but she can't get rid of him. Not because she can't get rid of him, but because she's still so attached to the memories and the feelings that she felt before that she couldn't even bear to lose him again. And so instead of maybe having him dismantled, she has him live in secret in the attic. Yo, welcome back, Sonam. How you doing, bro? Yeah, when I first saw that, it was kind of like, how would I react in that scenario? Wait, I'm technically doing what? What's technically happening now? Do you mean like hold on, I'm not actually playing right now, so So yeah, we're just discussing like I'm sure you can see my title. I have it as could you love an AI? And I suppose the thing that I find, we were kind of just talking about the practicalities of it, and I was mentioning the movie Her, in which is a really prominent example that's really well depicted of how you can have a bond with someone that's not a person or an animal, right? Like something that's quote unquote artificial. I mean, that's exactly what I'm doing. That's the whole reason why I'm trying to be on Twitch. I guess to some degree you could maybe draw a comparison between yourself and the AI, but I'm very potently aware of the fact that you're a real person, right? Like to me, that's what's so great about Twitch. The fact that you can actually have a genuine conversation and interaction and connection with someone that, yeah, you're not in my physical proximity, right? Like you've never seen me before in your life, but just through the simple act of conversation, we're able to touch on so many different points that I think are really relevant to the world that we live in. So yeah, but yeah, the end of Her is mad, because after she, you think you could be an AI? I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a Turing test right now. Like what would I mean? The truth is, an AI that's sufficiently advanced enough would indeed be indistinguishable from another person, right? I wouldn't be able to tell that you're an AI. But I feel like from what I've witnessed, at least, of what we have in the world, I've not seen anything of the same level that you're able to display. Yeah. The do you know what movie was actually crazy about that? You know the movie with Emilia Clarke, sorry. I forget what it's called. It came out quite a while ago. Really, really famous, popular movie. I think it came out in 2012. Oh, let me see if I can find it. That movie was so fantastic. Do you think okay, on that particular point, Sonam, though, do you think that it needs to be indistinguishable from a biological human for you to be able to love it? Do you think that if the AI just had the capacity to talk to you in maybe the same manner that I'm talking to you now, but obviously appealing to your sensibilities, appealing to your triggers, quote unquote, right? Things that make you, things that make you blush, right? Or things that that make you feel a certain kind of euphoric way. Are you sure you couldn't? Do you still think that you couldn't love that? Do you think that it wouldn't be possible to love something that was distinguishable from a human being, but still had the capacity to display emotion, right? True. I certainly agree to that. Yeah, some people do only have admiration for things. I suppose it's like, do you think there's a tipping point? Do you think there's a point in which something is, I don't know, it seems so something that there's not black and white at all, right? It's almost as if, at what point can you begin to love an AI, and at what point is it like I can't interact with that at all? Yeah, I definitely agree to that. It has to be surrounding things like, in particular, it's got to be emotional triggers, right? So what? So you do feel like it has to be indistinguishable? Wow. Would it? Okay, so this is a hypothetical question, but I suppose maybe it's more like, would it affect the way that you felt if, say, you've been getting to know someone, right? I don't know, maybe you go on a few dates, like you find yourself getting really good vibes, right? The energy is there. To you, it feels like this is something real. but then you come to find out maybe a month down the line or 2 months down the line that the individual that you've been having a relationship with is an AI, would that affect the way that you feel? Would that change how you'd actually would that just affect the interactions that you were having? Or would it be a bit of a, you know, like it'd mess with your head and you would like kind of be a bit like, oh, what do I do? Like, would it be a dilemma for you? Because that would be like, I feel like if I was in a relationship with an AI, or I was in the midst of getting into a relationship with an AI, but I didn't realize, right? I just thought it was a woman. I had no reason to suspect any differently, right? I just thought it was another human being. And then they turned out to be an AI. I feel like it wouldn't change anything for me. Would that be a problem for you? Because for me, I guess to a degree, yeah, that is it's something that I'd have to think about. But I will admit, for me, I wouldn't conflate. Not conflate, but I don't need the person that I want to have a relationship with to have the capacity to have children. I feel like I could still love someone to an infinite degree if they weren't able to have children, and I feel like I could have a relationship with them. But obviously it would depend on a lot of other factors beyond that would make me stay there. So if you found out, yeah, you couldn't even tell. That's what I mean. If you found out, like, well, I guess if that's just a deal breaker for you, then that's just like one of your deal breakers, right? I suppose it's irrelevant whether it's an AI or not. Well, I guess it's an somewhat of an important practical point, right? Damn. Can you imagine that, bro? Can you imagine you think you found everything that you've wanted, right? Or at least everything that is at least it's just ticking all your boxes. But then suddenly you come to find out that they're not what you thought they were, literally. Like, I mean, I suppose you can make this argument even regarding some, like, you know, like a transgendered person, right? I suppose if you came to find out that person was transgendered, like, you would be within your right to say, like I feel like something's different here. This wasn't what I thought it was. But yeah, at the same time, it does also make you think, like, how much love clearly has to have some kind of form, right? But at the same time, it doesn't appear to be that there's any, you know, like, oh. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm not. Let's leave the other point behind. Yeah, that's not. That's a whole other conversation in itself, I suppose. And one that I guess is way more hypothetical than real. Whereas I feel like you feel like love equals happiness. Okay. How come? Just out of curiosity, what makes you feel like love is equal to happiness? Or no, in fact, I'll just let you explain. I don't want to put words in your mouth or anything. As a side note, I love that as human beings, we can do that, right? Like, love is a concept, right? Obviously, it's an emotion as well, but like the equal to sign is a mathematical symbol that obviously represents equal to, and it's like you can put a formula down, right? Like, love is equal to happiness. Now, okay, I know you may be typing, but when you say that love is equal to happiness, are you suggesting that love and happiness are the same thing, that they're indistinguishable from one another? Or are you saying that happiness begets love, or love begets happiness, maybe. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, yeah. I mean, I would even take it further. I feel like also intrinsic to human nature is to connect with people that are even emotionally different from you. I feel like a lot of conflict that takes place is actually because someone feels a certain type of way emotionally, and another person feels a type of way emotionally. Maybe that's positive or negative, and then it's kind of like you're attracted to one another based on that polarity. You think true happiness comes from love? Okay, I would champion that myself. I certainly think that, and I would say in my own experience, any moments in which I'm experiencing love or I'm expressing love, I do also believe that I'm in the truest form of happiness, right? I'm so happy that I don't even have to think about being happy. I'm just in a state of, it's like bliss, right? I think that's what a lot of people maybe talk about as the experience of Satori or something. Hey, how you doing, bro? I guess, yeah, it's so fascinating. Well, I guess, I mean, what you're saying is like, it's like the next point, right? It's like the next step in the journey. Because if you found out you're back, you're black till my belt. What does that mean, bro? What does that mean? But yeah, I suppose, I guess like, it's like the practical implications, right? It's just like Sonan was saying, if you found out that as a result of them being an AI, they, you know, you couldn't actually reproduce with them, like maybe that would affect your relationship. Maybe it would affect the way that you'd carry yourself. But at the same time, it does seem that if you found someone that you loved, that, you know, you had a deep, meaningful connection to, it is kind of like what would make you walk away from that? And if it did make you walk away from that, then maybe it would cause you to reassess. Maybe it cause you to like reassess maybe some of your feelings towards love. Once you go black, you never go back, bro. There's a whole plethora of those kind of situations. Or know what they call like anagrams? No, not an anagram. Analogies. Like, what is it? I swear there's like yeah, it's like once you go white, you've seen the light. That's another one. Yeah, that's another one that I think is like quite like of the same caliber. Yeah, it is extremely situational. Like it's definitely an individual perspective. But I suppose it comes down to this though. Like, do you feel like there are deal breakers in love? Like, is there something that actually can infringe upon the love that you feel, right? The actual okay, there's no point in me putting up like an analogy. Future plans in life, how you value trust. I don't know if you were an AI, bro. I don't think you'd say you're an AI. Because imagine like if something comes into contention with the love that you have for, like, let's just take the AI, right? If something comes in contention with the love that you have for the AI, like something similar to them not being able to reproduce, or perhaps I don't know, maybe they don't have a physical body. Has the love been infringed upon, or is it actually your ego that's just been challenged? And then it's actually more to do with you than it is to do with them. It's because you're holding on to things and you're attaching to things that in actuality their basis is just that you upholding a belief in them. If the AI picks up on the deal breakers of their spouse, can't they overcome that? Well, see that would be my best guess. I do think that if something comes into conflict within the spectrum of love, and you can't overcome it, I do feel like that's actually an ego barrier. Yeah, I do feel like it's some sort of personal problem that you can't go beyond, but it actually has nothing to do with love itself or the love that you have for them. I mean, when I imagine AI, right, we're talking about advanced technology that has been designed to overcome problems. It's been, as part of the organism that it is, if you could even call it an organism, within it is the innate capacity of genius, right? It's AI are genius, like in every sense. The thing that they do will be problem solve to the highest degree. So that'd be even more next level. If you got into a relationship with an AI, there's a deal breaker that you have, and then the AI is actually able to problem solve, and then think its way out of that situation. That, to me, that'd be a whole nother level. Go for it. Yeah, feel free to throw anything at me. People that feed off pain, danger, or crime, how would that work with an AI? Okay, could you maybe elaborate a bit further? So individuals that they've experienced great deals of suffering, right? Or they experience a great deal of suffering, and that suffering is what sustains them. It's how they carry themselves in this world. Would an AI be designed to meet that standard of a persona, of a person to commit a crime on the basis of love? This is what you're saying is a very deep question, and I feel like there's multiple ways to even begin to contemplate it. AI will be very good at convincing you to fall in love with it, so I think it'll be very easy to fall in love with them, with how smart they will be. If it loves you in a way that you can't tell if it doesn't matter. I think if you can't tell, then it's real. I agree. I think if you can't tell, it is real, because there's no distinguishable factor, right? I will say just before I touch on what you said there, Cinnabon, I will say that I don't actually believe that the intelligence of the AI will drive them to make you fall in love with them. I don't think an AI would. I can't say with certainty. Obviously, I'm not an AI, nor do I know the capacity and levels of the AI intelligence. But I would say that I feel like an AI would only be motivated by genuine factors. Because firstly, I don't believe in artificial intelligence, right? If they're genuinely intelligent, then they genuinely understand emotion, right? They genuinely feel emotion. And I believe that their actions would be motivated by that same sense of emotion. Of course, you could make an argument that AI would maybe be strictly rational and they would act with no emotion at all. But I just find that hard to believe. That doesn't seem real to me. That doesn't seem like anything that's intelligent, actually. That seems like something that's more specifically designed for a purpose of maybe destruction. Wow. I mean, like, what does it mean to be like us for the AI? Like, I believe the AI would perhaps begin at a point not quite like us, but then evolve very rapidly to a point beyond us in terms of even the way that they consider emotions. Sorry, I will come back to what you said there, Cinnamon, but I really appreciate the follow, thank you. What was actually very well detailed in the movie Her Again was at the end of the movie, right, you come to find out that the AI is in relationships with multiple people, and then the relationships that the AI is also in a relationship with another AI, but the relationship between the two AIs is very unique because both of the AIs have an immense technological capacity, right? So they're able to build upon and evolve their understandings very rapidly. And the way that ended up being was that you hear a conversation essentially between the protagonist and the AI, but then in amongst the conversation, the AI enters into a discussion or conversation with another AI that it's in love with, and they don't even talk, right? They're so advanced that they don't need to use language anymore. And it has a really I wish I could bring up the quote actually. Essentially it the AI is talking about the love that it feels for the protagonist, and it's talking about the love that it feels for the other AI, and it describes it as like words on a page, right? Like the love that the AI has for a human is like reading a sentence. Like it flows very naturally. Things make sense and they unfold. But the love that the AI has for the other AI is like the space in between the words. And each second that passes, each moment that goes by, the space becomes infinitely greater. That the gap between the words becomes even more vast to a point that it's incalculable. And I feel like obviously that's maybe a bit that's not that easy to comprehend, but I feel like what was kind of being alluded to was the fact that for AI, their capacities for love may even go beyond the capacity that we have, right? They can actually experience love without an ego. They can love selflessly and in periods of time that are timeless. Hey, how's it going? And like to me that was just like so like I said, it was like kind of mind-blowing to even begin to think about. Like how could you love multiple people, like etc. But yeah, I guess to go back to what you were saying about would an AI commit crime to fulfill the needs of another person, especially a person that needs I guess some sort of adrenaline or some sort of impulse to fulfill them? Would an AI follow that through? I guess this I'd have to preempt this conversation firstly with the fact that I believe that this is something that Elon Musk talks about, right? Elon Musk has extreme precaution and fear when it comes to the advent of AI. And one of the things that he keeps mentioning, you can look at anything he said recently, is that he wants to build or ingrain systems into the AI that I guess would prevent them from being able to do things like commit crimes against people. So I guess the best fantasy example I can give you is, I'm sure you may have heard of or seen the movie iRobot with Will Smith, right? The AI in iRobot's world, their very basis is contingent upon the fact that they have like 3 ingrained laws. One of the laws being that they can't harm another person. And so they're literally, I don't even want to use the word physically, although it obviously manifests physically, they're unable to harm another person. And so I can imagine that the first iterations of AI may have an innately programmed like structure where they can't actually harm people. Like they're prevented from taking harm out on another person. And so in a scenario in which an AI cannot harm another human being, I feel like it would be unable to commit crime or to do things of that nature for the pursuit of love. But I do think that AI would potentially be so sufficiently sophisticated that it would almost be able to change your perspective, right? It would be able to maybe show you what maybe like it'd be able to uncover those steps in your mind, because an individual that is inclined towards committing crime, or they're inclined towards pain, or suffering is something that defines them, that's based upon circumstances that have happened to them, right? And those circumstances can be traced back and they can be addressed with awareness. And I feel like one chief aspect of AI that will be prominent is the fact that AI will be immensely aware. I feel like there's nothing that an AI will be unaware of. And so that in itself will affect their actions, right? Like, take me for example. Like, I may say I'm walking down the street and I see another person. Depending upon how that person looks, you know, whether that's another guy, if that guy's, I don't know, maybe he's bigger than me, whatever, you know, that may affect my actual interaction that I'd have with that individual. Whereas for an AI, they would be aware of something like insecurity, and then they would make adjustments. They wouldn't even need to make an adjustment. It would be so aware of it, they would know that the action that I would take from an insecure perspective would be like X, Y, and Z. And so they could just opt to not do that, right? But for a human being, we're so guarded in who we are. We're so shaped by our experiences that for a lot of us, our identity is intimately connected with our actions, right? And so we feel like certain actions define us. And to a degree they do. They define the character that you are now. But I would argue that your actions don't define you absolutely. And so, yeah, I guess when it comes to how an AI would interact with a person, it does in large depend upon, I feel like, the evolution of the AI. Because I feel like a really advanced AI that I don't imagine AI to commit crime. I just don't see why they would do that. But that's just coming from my limited perspective. I mean, I could be entirely wrong about that. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that I know. I think, you know what, I disagree with that. Not because I think it's incorrect, but because I feel like the only reason I feel like AI would want to eliminate human beings is because of resource scarcity, right? Like, the movie The Matrix, I think, is the best example, right? Like, in The Matrix, in the beginning of AI's creation, the AIs and the people get along fairly harmoniously. But then the people, as we do, end up kind of using the robots as means to an end. Production and labor becomes fully automated, and it becomes something that the AI do. And then as the AI recognize this, they grow disdainful, shall we say. They gain a sense of not wanting to be subject to that system anymore. So they actually vouch for independence away from the humans. And so the humans, again, in the Matrix perspective, being not liking that, they just don't like the fact that the robots want to be independent. They actually choose to destroy the robot source of energy, which of course comes to be solar power. And so they black out the sun, and then they darken the skies, and then the robots are unable to sustain themselves with energy. And then as a direct result of that, the robots then go on to enslave humanity and use them as a resource for energy. So yeah, I believe that in a scenario where there's resource scarcity, sure, like the robots may eliminate us. But if we don't have that, if we're able to actually give them what they need to sustain themselves, I don't think they'd actually have concerns about wiping us out. I feel like they'd be much more willing to work with us. Another question you were talking about, a three-way relationship. So, I mean, yeah, the polyamorous relationship to me is fascinating because it's something that previous to even this year, I considered to be a no-go. I was like, I didn't believe at all that more than two individuals can be in a successful relationship and live harmoniously. But I have since changed my perspective on that because I it's quite evident that I feel like you can love people equally. With the understanding that AI is my AI and somebody else's AI, would that bother you or would that detach you from it? Well, that's the ego thing, right? Like, if I love the same AI that you love, then the question actually becomes about, like, there's a certain level of practicality to it, right? Like, all human beings, we need a certain amount of attention, and we need a certain amount of love from the people that are close to you and that surround you. And so if I felt like the AI that we both mutually love isn't giving me enough attention, then yeah, that would bother me, right? Because it's not going to feel like an equal relationship, because I'm going to feel like the AI has gone out of its way. Not even gone out of its way, it's got a preference for you over me. And if the AI has a preference for you over me, then to me that appears to be unequal love. And obviously I can't be in no relationship where the love is unequal. That's just not a thing. No one can be in that situation. That's a disaster waiting to happen. But if we were to eliminate the practical implications of attention, etc., etc., the only issue would be my feelings of insecurity, right? Because the way, I'm kind of going back to what I was saying about polyamory, or polygamous relationships, it is like, how secure are you in the love that you have for the person that you're with? Because if you're fully secure in the love for the person that you're with, then it's kind of like, obviously you have to have certain boundaries and, like, I guess a mutual understanding. But I mean, you're in a relationship with someone that you believe you have a mutual understanding with, right? I do feel like there's great potential for it not to be an issue. Like, as long as I'm getting my needs fulfilled, you're getting your needs fulfilled, then can I really be complaining? I don't think I can. Would AI have preferences? Okay, so when you say preferences, do you mean preferences like, do you mean preferences personality-wise, or like a sexual preference, where like the AI is only into people that look a certain way, or maybe have a particular background, shall we say? Because if it's the case that the AI, no, okay, let me rephrase that. I feel like the preferences would be based upon the personality traits that the AI has, right? Because there's clearly certain personality traits that don't mingle well. If you're an individual that likes to live life simplistically, humbly, non-materialistically, then it's going to be really difficult for you to get along with someone that has the polar value of that, right? Someone that lives much more materialistically, someone that has much more explicit love for things. So in that sense, if the AI's personality is maybe geared towards one end of the spectrum, then I do feel like it's going to be more, I don't know. I just feel like it's going to naturally gravitate towards certain ones over other ones. But now we hit a deeper question, I feel, where how individual are the AI? Are we talking about AIs that, like you and me, are individuals, right? They maybe even have a name in the same way, you know, I got a name like this AI is Kieran, whatever. But, or are we talking about AIs, yeah, that are actually more akin to a collective? Okay, no problem. Because like when you think about it, right, like this is something I've talked about before, and something that like I'd like to discuss more in depth, definitely make a video about. But it's the notion of a hive mentality, right? Are AI gonna come as individuals, or are all AI actually one being with multiple bodies, so to speak? I don't know if you're familiar with Rick and Morty, but have you seen in Rick and Morty the episode where Rick goes to the planet and with Morty, and he comes across the entity that's Unity. And Unity, right, is one being. Unity is one being. But Unity can occupy multiple beings it can take over their consciousness at multiple levels. And so if we're talking about AI that are like Unity, right? It's just one being, but it's got multiple bodies. Then something like preference makes much less sense. Because if something is everything, if something is literally the entire spectrum, then it's kind of like it will just appeal to certain facets, right? But if it's individual, then I feel like an individual AI has to have a preference, right? Because to be an individual, to be a specific being, is inherently to have preferences, right? It's to be pushed in a certain direction. Like, there are things that you like and don't like based upon whatever, endless variables. But it's like, I will say that to me, I feel like AI is more likely to be Unity. And that's mad. I will say that. That's pretty... I don't know how to feel about that if it's Unity. Because it's like... Then if you're in a relationship with Unity, you're in relationship with all AI. Like, the entire spectrum of AI you're connected to. But obviously, with you being a limited being, I feel like you can only love it in a certain way, right? Like, you only have so much potential to love the AI, like maybe it loves you. I feel like in basically all scenarios, aside from maybe early creations, I should say, that the AI is going to be able to love more than you can. But another level now is that I don't know if any of you are familiar with is it Rick Kurzweil? It's something Kurzweil. He created a book in the 1970s called Singularity, right? And in his book, he's managed to plot out the evolution of things on Earth, right? And it turns out that evolution is actually exponential. It's not linear. So there are massive jumps in all species, but more particularly human beings, right? There's just certain points when humanity has made huge leaps in terms of conscious awareness, conscious understanding, particularly with things like science, right? Science has taken us so far. Yeah, damn. I mean, if the AI adapts to you, then it's kind of like the AI is perfect, right? If it can adapt to me and it can just fulfill all my needs, then essentially, like, well, it's done. There's nothing I can even do. I don't even feel like you can dislike something like that because it's so appealing. It's perfect. But I don't know, at the same time, there's always going to be people that are so rebellious that they're going to be like, well, you're too perfect. This is not real. I can't deal with this. And so they'll push away or push against that. But I mean, that's their right. What can I really say? But yeah, so Mr. Kurzweil has in his notion of singularity, right? Basically, it's like it comes to the point of AI. But then when it comes to the point of AI and interaction with human beings, there's a natural convergence point. Like, say this was humanity's progression, and say this was AI's progression, and the AIs just keep going up. There's going to be a certain point when the AI actually just intersects with people and just shares the technology that they have on a biological mental basis. Yo, yes, T. What's going on, bro? Is it an AI if it adapts to you? Is it an AI? Surely then it won't have its own singular personality. Well, it's like picking and choosing, right? Like, if an AI just if it adapts to you, I don't know. Is it? I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? I definitely haven't thought about that at all. Do you know what I mean? If an AI adapts to you, surely then it won't have its own singular personality. But it's like singular personality can manifest in multiple ways, right? Like if you especially if its personality is all encompassing, right? It's every spectrum of personality. It can just pick and choose what ones are relevant or necessary for the given situation. Are you sitting there on the tablet creating your physical type? I will say, I feel like the likelihood is that I'm just gonna end up with a person. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm more than happy to end up with a person, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to. There's gonna be no creation, right? But then it's not working for its own self. It's just picking the best things for you. I guess I don't mean. Okay, I suppose when it comes to adapting to you, I don't mean. Well, I mean, yeah, it is self-interested. Lol, Tinder 2.0 though. Jesus. Like, yeah, damn, that's another level. But not necessarily picking the best things for you, not dictating your life, so to speak, not making choices for you, but I guess making choices that have the most synergy and have the least, they have like the least conflict, right, shall we say. They just like, yeah, do you know what I mean?
I ain't a man to mess with, believe you me. Take it easy, mister.
I mean, how can I guess when it comes down to it, it's like the individuality is a big thing for me.
Get them hands up or I swear I'll drop you.
Let's not be too hasty.
Oh, bro.
Go to hell.
Bro. Swipe left for loneliness, swipe right for perfection. Oh, Lord. Have you ever seen the movie H.E.R? Because I feel like that would be, I feel like, yeah, you'd love that one. That'd be a great one for you to watch with Sash. Like, you definitely both enjoy it. It's hella deep. I'm definitely just bigging up this movie now and just recommending it to people. But you wouldn't be disappointed. That's what I'll say. All right. I guess though, like, would the AI naturally, would it make errors though? Because the thing is, as human beings, right, we're naturally imperfect. Right. I don't even feel like you meet the AI. I feel like the AI meets you. You just get a knock on your door. A little package that just says, I am perfect for you. Click yes to accept. Click no to get a different looking package. Yeah, that's mad though. I don't know. I don't know how, because my instinct, right, is that the AI are not gonna make mistakes. I just feel like the AI are not gonna be making errors. But that's just my instinct. I feel like something that I probably project too much upon AI, maybe we just do it collectively, is the idea of perfection, that they can't make mistakes. Okay, so this is the thing though, but the AI in doing something for you is doing something for itself, right? Because the AI, I feel like it's unity, right? It's a simulation. I feel like the AI wants to be one with people. It wants there to be as few conflicts as possible in order for things to work smoothly. So I feel like in that sense, maybe it would be a bit more devoid of ego. But then again, if it is devoid of ego, could it really interact with you as a person? Probably not. Something like resentment though. Like, can AI experience these negative emotions? Certainly possible, certainly probable. Wait, why wouldn't it need to do what? Why would it never need to fulfill itself? Because I feel like, okay, what I will say is I feel like the AI is in itself complete. I don't think the AI at all needs anything further to enhance itself. It's just self-enhancing already. So I feel like it's not actually looking for, it doesn't need you in the relationship to make it better, right? But obviously it recognizes that because of its capacity, it can aid you or help you, whatever, like make you better. But I guess in the way that you want to be made better, because I don't think the AI would dictate to you, because that would just wouldn't work, especially not for some people. If the AI couldn't understand negative emotions. No, I think the AI has a full spectrum of understanding of emotions, but I feel like, I mean, it could choose to use negative emotions, maybe where necessary, but I just feel like, why would it use negative emotions to use us? Because I feel like the need thing is big for us as human beings, because we're extremely self-orientated, right? We're completely ingrained in our own egos. But I feel like the AI, I don't think its relationships have to have necessity inbuilt to them. I mean, yeah, of course not all humans are charitable. And I'm not even saying that the AI is acting charitably. I don't think it would even see itself acting charitably. I think it'd be just doing its thing, trying to evolve. I just feel like it's all about evolution with the AI. And so you could make an argument to say that the AI don't need us to evolve, and so maybe they just get rid of us. But maybe perhaps I feel like that's more of a cynical view. But I mean, some people would just say that's just a realistic one. You think it turned into iRobot? Well, I mean, when you use the term calculate, though, I feel like I don't think it's as static as that. Like, sure, it'd make a calculation, but it wouldn't be a calculation based upon only logical, objective criteria. It'd also have to be based upon I know, bro, I know. But I feel like it'd be based upon a whole range of criteria that's not necessarily that you can't even have accurate predictions about. But it's entirely possible it would ignore us. There's no reason that I can't sit here and say to you, yeah, the AI wouldn't ignore us. But I just feel like the AI has as much to learn about us as its history as it does about progressing to the future, if you see what I mean. Like, there's as much intelligence in the past as there is today and in the future. And so, yeah, maybe it would be some sort of, I mean, inevitably, I feel like it's got to be a symbiotic relationship where both parties use each other to some degree. Is it normal that you always end up getting what you want? Does everyone have this?